This video contains 17 FPV drone racing secrets that will make you a faster, more consistent and confident drone racer. I have learned all of these after being personally trained by world champion racer and founder of 533 Drones, Evan Turner. Now, it is very important to understand that secret number 1 is essential to nail, as without knowing it, everything else in this video is damn useless. So what exactly is this secret and why does it matter so much? Well look, I'm not going to beat around the bush. The matter of fact is that you are more than likely flying well out of your current skill range. What I mean here is that you're flying at 110%, which does sound like a great thing. However, as you'll find out later in the video, it's actually quite the opposite. Secret 1 is as simple as just dialing it back. That means stop flying as fast as you can, humble yourself, and just open up your mind to the possibility that the next 16 secrets will transform you into a better racer. Alright, secret number 2 is another super simple one, but it does require you to
fly as slowly as you have to fly as tight as possible.
And if you're thinking, how the heck is this going to help me fly faster? Consider the fact that
when you watch somebody who's incredibly fast, like Min Chan or something like that, they didn't hold the drone at full throttle and the lines just came to them. They learned the line and then slowly increased the throttle until they could hold that line at full throttle. And it's so common for so many people to just hold it full and say, well, everybody else's drone sounds like it's at full throttle and I'm trying to be like them and it's just not working. And of course it's not working because you don't have the technique, you don't have the confidence, and you don't have the skill to do that.
So, secret number 2.
Slow down until it looks easy to where you can do a pre-turn before every single turn and you are flying super duper tight to everything.
But then, of course, that raises the 2 questions. How do I fly tighter and do this pre-turn thing? Introducing secret number 3.
All you're going to do is worry about flying this track in the shortest trajectory possible. Imagine you have a string behind your drone that, tells you the distance traveled, and you want to make that string by the end of the lap as short as you possibly can. Go as slow as you need to. Go to 0-degree camera tilt. I don't care. Pretend like you're doing a fly through. Find the shortest track line possible. What lines work best for that? You're going to learn the fundamentals and you're going to learn the flight path that you actually need to stick on to improve. Don't worry about anything else.
I mean, hey, you heard the man. Secret number 3, focus on the shortest optimal lines, no exceptions. That does bring us to one of the more eye-opening secrets that really helped me actually lock in. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that it's what forced me to become consistent.
One metric I would love for you to measure, just because it'll also kind of help you with flying, is your best 10 consecutive laps. And then this will encourage you to actually become consistent, and it'll also force you to find that pace. Because if it's just best 3 consecutive, I have a lot of best 3 consecutive times in my life that I know that I would never be able to do again because it looked terrifying. I was holding on for dear life. But if I look at my best 10 consecutive, your best 10 consecutive flying comes out in the race. And that's what you're trying to decide. Are you trying to become a good racer or a good qualifying pilot? Even me and arguably some people like BMS Thomas, neither of us have never really been known for being the flat out fastest pilots. But under pressure, I would argue that we've both been known to have the pace to do it when others haven't, because they've been practicing the best single lap and best 3 laps. When Thomas and I, at least from what I've been able to see from his flying, he's so good at ramping up his speed and flying it, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, whether he's under pressure, whether he's in last or first, he can just do it.
So yeah, if you hadn't guessed already, secret 4 is to focus flying 10 consecutive laps instead of just your best 3. Secret 5 is where we get to switch things up a little bit. It's actually a secret that'll help you figure out if you're flying on the right track or not. All you need to do is record a drone flight with your goggles DVR or even a screen recording of a simulator racetrack, and then just follow Evan's instructions.
Well, go watch an MCK video, maybe go watch any fast racing pilot's video and look at the lines that they're doing and just how close they're getting to everything. They're getting so close to everything. It all seems calculated and put together. And it seems like it seems like they're playing music almost. It's so well put together. So anyone is capable of doing that, just at different speeds, right? A Min Chan video, if you slow that down, then it's amazing. It's like, it looks so easy and everything's so precise and everything. Other people's flying can look like that if you speed it up. All he's doing, his drone is just tilted a little bit more, but your lines should be almost the same or very close. And so your test can be, all right, let's put this thing at 2 or 3 times speed and see if this looks like a Min Chin video. Am I truly keeping it as tight around the ladder as I want? Am I truly keeping the split S super tight? You know, all of those things will help you. That'll be kind of your thing you can go reference. Let's go speed up my footage. Does this look like a pro drone pilot? Am I actually flying lines that a pro would fly? And if the answer is yes, that means you're on the right path.
Secret number 5, fly slow and tight, then speed your footage up and compare it to the pro racers. Now, those are the fundamental secrets. If you haven't nailed those, don't move on past them just yet. If, however, you feel like your level of flying is pretty reasonable, then it's time to keep cracking on. Secret number 6 is a simple thought change and comes down to how you see your throttle. Evan told me to start thinking of my throttle in sectioned stages. What he's talking about here is not an exact place that your throttle sits, but instead a small range in which you should try to visualize yourself within. After reviewing some of my early flight footage, Evan told me that it looks like I fly around the 35 to 45% throttle range. For someone like Evan, he's likely operating in the 85 to 100% range. Now, it's nothing to be annoyed by. Instead, it's like making your throttle into a game that you have to level up in. Speaking of which, how exactly did Evan recommend me to increase this range? Well, quite simply, he said, in your mind, I want you to think about your throttle movements, but shift them up in the gimbal by 10 to 15%. If your lines become compromised, stop. Do not develop bad habits. The fundamentals of your lines and throttle control will be the backbone of your success. Push the average throttle up until you start to crack, then focus on the fundamentals holding you back and try again. So, secret number 6, increase your throttle until you crack, then refocus on the fundamentals. Secret 7 builds on top of this too. So Evan told me as you find yourself increasing your throttle, you have to tilt your drone further forward. As you do this, the horizon will inevitably become higher and higher in your goggles view. If you're finding your horizon is consistently at or above the top third of your screen, most racers would consider that too low. So you're likely going to need to increase your camera angle. Keep in mind that every time you increase your camera angle, it's gonna feel like gravity has increased too. Less of your thrust is gonna be holding the quad in the air and vice versa for when your camera angle goes down. If you can wrap your head around this concept before making the change, adjusting to it will become so much easier. So secret 7 is know when to change your camera angle and what the effects of it are. That now brings me on to the hardest and most beneficial secret that I have learned to date.
As you start to improve or try and get faster, what you're going to need to focus on next is pitch control. From what I saw, it looked like instead of pitching down to power through the turn, you would kind of just keep the pitch the same and reduce your throttle. Instead, what you do is keep your throttle the same and then adjust your altitude just by pitching more. What that would do is then make you drop inherently because more of your thrust would be pushing you forward and less would be holding you up. And then the same thing for when you want to try and go up higher. So when you watch a fast pilot do a hurdle of any kind, they would keep the throttle the same, maybe reduce it a little bit, but then they would actually look down to let the thrust pull them down and then pull up like that. So you can use that in so many different aspects. Like a lot of beginners, as you're going up a ladder, for example, at the very beginning, you're kind of swooping around and ascending. And the only way that you're ascending is by adding more throttle. Now, what you could do instead is keep the throttle the same and use pitch to then just level yourself out a little bit. So you're going around and now you want to get higher. You would then just pull back just a little bit on pitch while keeping the throttle the same speed. And that would then increase and make you go up. It would make you like gain altitude basically.
Secret 8 can be summed up in 3 words: learn, pitch, control. On a slightly more lightweight note here, this next secret is going to be absolutely perfect for you if you have no friends. I mean, I'm kidding. Well, I kind of am. Either way, friends or no friends, it's actually a little fun tool to add into your racing toolkit. So, yeah.
One thing that I like or that I've done before is arming my drone and then letting the arm timer get to like 5 seconds and I take off when it hits 5. And then I will then fly as fast as I can until I get through the start finish gate. And then I'll just land right after the start finish gate and disarm. And then I can look at my total arm time and that'll tell me how fast I got around the track. And that'll be, of course, your total race time. And it's not going to be perfect, but all you care about, you don't care about the laps, you care about the total race time. Yeah. So that allows you with zero equipment to be able to track your times.
And just like that, secret 9, I am calling NFRT. I'm sure I'll be using this timer on the daily. Now, up until this stage, everything has been very drone and control focused. And of course, while these are the fundamentals to flying faster, more consistently, and confidently, they all mean shit all if you mentally break down on race day. These next 8 secrets will change how you see race day, how you deal with the stresses of it, and how to perform under immense pressure. I know, we went deep real quick there, but my one piece of advice for you going into these secrets is to have an open mind and simply be willing to change how you think. Evan got a lot of these secrets from a top-tier sports psychologist back in his earlier DRL race days. It's not like it's just coming from some unreputable source. Let's smash back into this again, starting off with secret number 10.
The first big thing that a lot of people struggle with is their brain playing tricks on them, especially at these big events. They will get they spent money to get there. They practice really hard. They have goals of who they want to beat. They've worked on refining their setup and all these things. And basically you have a lot invested into this, and your brain will start to play tricks on you as to you have to perform. You have so much invested. If you don't do good, you're a failure, yada, yada, yada. So the first thing to start all this and having proper performance under pressure is to understand why you fly. And I fly because I like to fly. And so many people fly because they like to fly. It's something where we've made friends through it. We've learned so many things from it. And we've all grown so much from flying because we like to fly. And all of this kind of revolves around that flying at this race is no different than flying in your backyard. It's just you're going there. You came to that race because you wanted to. No one's making you come. There's arguably next to no meaningful money on the line. You are there because you want to be there, and you have to remember that and ingrain that into your brain that you are there because you want to have fun and enjoy it. So anything, the second you start to feel like you aren't having fun and you aren't enjoying yourself, then you need to take a step back and remember why you fly, because you like to, and you're doing this because you love it and you love the people in it and so forth.
Secret 10, know why you fly.
The next thing, the second step would be what, and that is what you can control. So a big problem I had, and you can actually notice this a lot looking at my performances on DRL in the earlier years, is that I was very focused on other people and that how other people were doing, how other people were flying, how other people were feeling. And a lot of my focus, or a lot of, where my head was trying to get in other people's head, was trying to get them off their game, was trying to analyze the quality of their flying and so forth. And I thought that was the ticket, was to essentially pull people down for my own good. It's like, if I can fly my own way, but if I can get in this guy's head and I can, say this and then he's going to be off his game, or if I can do really good and then try and get into his head, that is somehow going to make my result better. And that is a complete wrong way to look at it. And so instead, I had to understand that drone racing, as much as people want to say it's player versus player, it truly is not. This is a race against yourself. No matter how good or bad someone else is doing, it is not going to change your performance. At the end of the day, the work was done a month ago. Nothing you are going to come up with or practice or realize on the day of the race is going to change how fast you can get around the track. I'm sorry. That work is done. So you shouldn't be focused on that. Instead, you need to be focused on how to be a good drone racer. We're not focused, our focus at the race is not focused on getting faster. Our focus is on being able to perform better under pressure consistently. And the definition of a good drone racer is somebody who can perform to their best level, and that's not the fastest in the world, but can perform to their highest level consistently and under pressure. That is a good drone racer. If you fly 3 laps that are consistent, smooth, and crisp, and you don't move on, you should be as happy as can be because you executed your plan. You executed your plan, and the plan is not results driven. It is the plan that you can complete, which is flying 3 crisp laps at your pace. Doesn't matter who's in the heat.
Secret number 11, understand what you can control.
And the last thing is where to focus. I remember having this conversation with my sports psychologist as far as she started asking what I was focusing on. And one of the things, like, honestly, the first thing I said was I was focusing on not crashing, because honestly, that's like the key to success. I was focusing on not crashing. So in my head, I'm like, don't crash, please don't crash. What she was saying is that is totally not the right way to handle it. And the way, and this is going to sound like total voodoo magic, and I thought the exact same thing, but there's a test you can do to prove this right. And the theory she was trying to prove was that your brain doesn't comprehend the word don't. If you say don't crash, don't mess up, don't do this, your brain doesn't comprehend it. And it's actually, now that's what it's focused on. And now you have that, like, I forget what the word is, but like you're focused on something, so you're going to do it. And if you're focusing on don't crash, don't do this, these negative things, you are way more likely to do it. And I was like, okay, like, sure, I understand, like, whatever. And she was like, but I can prove it to you in this way. And basically she pulls out a string, and like, I don't have a string on me, but I have this USB-C cable. She pulled out a string, and there was like a washer on it. There was a weight at the bottom, and this isn't going to work for right now. And she said, I want you to put your elbow on the table. I'll do a full demonstration. You put your elbow on the table, and you hold the string as stable as you possibly can. Obviously, it's not touching the ground, so this isn't going to work. But she said, just keep it as stable as you possibly can, and that, the bearing stayed pretty much completely stable. And then she said, all I want you to do was focus on keeping it as stable as possible, but say left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And believe it or not, it started to move left, right. And now she said, I want you to say forward, backwards, forward, backwards, forward, backwards, but focus as hard as you can on keeping it as stable, and keep it still, and just focus on that, but keep saying these words. And it truly did happen.
Wow.
It's going to sound weird. It sounds, and I still, to this day, every time I tell somebody that, they're like, yeah, you're full of crap, or you're insane. Try it. I really encourage you to try it. Basically, that unlocked my brain, that there was legitimacy to this claim that whatever you're thinking about actively is going to happen, and you saying don't isn't going to stop it. She said, instead of saying don't, you're going to replace that with I am and I will. So I will follow the race line that I know I can. And I will fly the pace that I know I can. And the biggest one to me that helped a lot with race pressure was connected to I am. And that's saying that I am capable of it. And you'll actually see that in my video, like in this same Utopia video, you'll hear me at this one point. I crashed out in one of the earlier heats, and I was in the losers bracket immediately. And my interview with myself after that, I was saying, at the end of the day, I know I'm capable of beating these guys. And I know that there's no reason that I can't run the same lap times as these guys. There's no reason I can't perform under pressure like these guys. And there's no reason these guys can't make mistakes. And it all started with saying that I am capable of it.
Secret number 12, focus on where you're going. Those last 3 secrets are what Evan attributes his racing success. Those last 3 secrets are what Evan attributes his racing success to. These simple mindset changes really do have the power to make or break your race day performance. So if you get anything out of this video, just make sure that it is those 3 secrets. However, look, we aren't stopping there. We've still got another 5 secrets to go, so let's continue on. Secret 13 actually takes us back to an earlier secret where we talked about how hard you're going during your race. I probably could have chosen some better words there, but anyways.
95% of the time, you will perform better and go faster if you're focused on flying at 85% than if you're trying to go 100% or greater. And that is for the sole reason about sticking to that line that you know you can fly. I'm sure that when you're flying with friends and you start to try and push, you'll notice yourself start to blow out turns and get less consistent and stuff. Yeah. It happens to everybody because they start flying it at their 100%, and their likelihood of failure goes up a significant margin. But in reality, if they just focused on flying 85% of what they knew they could, their lap times would be faster. I guarantee it. And they'd be more consistent. They'd be faster. And they'll say, oh, well, I can definitely get a faster 1 lap time, or I can definitely get a faster 3 lap time. But if you have to crash 5 times to achieve that, or if you can only achieve that 1 out of every 5 times, that literally means nothing. Those 2 statistics are directly tied to your ego and nothing else.
Yeah. my ego took a hit there too. Don't worry. Secret 13 is stick to the 85% rule. Now, I really have got no clue about baseball whatsoever, but I do understand this next secret pretty damn well. And why the baseball reference? Well, I'm just going to play the clip.
Drone racing is not about hitting home runs. It's about hitting consistent doubles, like baseball reference. If you're going out there and crashing every other pack and trying to, but then every other pack you have a crazy fast lap, that's not going to win you drone races. It simply is not, because on average in a double elimination bracket, you need to move on 4 to 6 times to get to the final. If you're hitting consistent doubles and consistently flying the pace you can fly, that puts you in the best place to succeed 100%.
So if succeeding sounds like something that interests you, I'd love to present you with Secret 14, consistency over speed. I found out Secret 15 only by really wanting to know how to slay one of my biggest dragons when it comes to race day. For me, my nerves get out of control and it significantly hinders how I fly. In fact, last year at a national race that I was competing in, I completely forgot the layout of the track, even though I had flown it hundreds of times within the simulator beforehand. So if you want to practice performing to the highest level in stressful environments, one of the best things that you can focus on is
getting comfortable flying with other people. So if you can fly with your 2 friends or whoever, the more you can fly with other people, for one, to be comfortable with other drones in the air flying at the same time as you, to feel that rush of adrenaline when flying. That's something you're not going to necessarily feel as much when flying by yourself. And just put yourself in race scenarios and put yourself and this, I don't know how much faster or slower they are than you, but one thing that I've always really liked to do, say, person A wins by 10 seconds, you get second, and then the other guy loses to you by 5 seconds. You will basically just do staggered starts. So person A takes off, 5 seconds later, you take off, 10 seconds later, other guy takes off. And the goal of all of this is for you all to finish at the exact same time. Now you're chasing to catch up to somebody, which takes a lot of discipline to not fly faster than you can. Maybe if you're in the middle, somebody's catching up to you because they're faster than you. And so you're not trying to change your flying based off them trying to overtake you. You are just, all you're doing is flying the best you can consistently under pressure.
So secret number 15, simulate the pressure. Speaking of pressure, I'm sure you know that feeling when you're in the lead, winning the race, and then that gut-wrenching feeling hitting you as you clip the gate, sending yourself straight into the ground. I know from my experience that when this happens to me, I just stress the hell out, try to catch back up, and ultimately end up in a worse position than I was originally. Turns out that I'm not the only one that has this issue. Thank God.
Statistically, after somebody makes an error or a mistake, the chances of them making another one go up tenfold. And it's so true. And myself included, I will list an example of this from my most recent race. I was at Whooptopia in the open class finals. The top 2 in this race go on to the finals. It was me. I was in first place against probably one of, if not the best, tiny whoop pilot in the world, T-Dog. We were battling. We ended up getting in a midair collision. We both go down, and we were in first and second by a large margin. I get up. We both get up, and I immediately start making mistake after mistake after mistake because the pressure was insane. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go. Mistake, mistake, mistake. I dropped down to 4th place. I think I was able to battle myself back up to 3rd. But I could have just gone, if I just would have originated back to my normal pace, I would have totally moved on, 100% chance. But even like I fly drones so much, I have so much race experience, and even myself and T-Dog included, we both made additional errors after this that were unforced. These were unforced errors that we made. And 2 pilots were able to move on past us because they stayed consistent.
Secret 16 is reset quickly, don't dwell on mistakes. Then for one of the best mindset shifts ever, we've got one of my favorites, and truly, I can't add anything else to this. Evan nailed it. So, ladies and gentlemen, secret number 17.
At the end of the day, your key focus should be on being a good drone racer and not a good drone pilot. It's simple as that. Like, The practicing, the improving the drone pilot stuff is what you and I have worked on the past 3 weeks at the field, the months leading up to it. That's you trying to become a better drone pilot. Now, in the week leading up to it, or especially the days leading up to it, you are now focused on being a good drone racer. And especially at the event, you're focused on being a good drone racer. Put simply, the best way to be a good drone racer, perform the best level you can consistently under pressure. Boom. It's easy as that. And as long as you're focused on doing those things, you'll set yourself up for success.
Secret 17 is be a good drone racer, not a good drone pilot. If you learned something today, Evan's got an entire channel dedicated to FPV drone racing, so go and subscribe to him. The knowledge you'll learn is seriously invaluable. And look, if you want 50 more FPV drone secrets, this video is going to show you exactly that. We'll see you very soon.